Good morning. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Conor McGilligan here with your Rumour Mill, the best rumour show about for Leeds United, the Leeds United sphere. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. You want some bonus content? You know what to do. If you are brand new, head on over to the Patreon. £4 a month. Really helps the channel. As I say, we're trying to push absolutely everything, improve stuff every single day. And you guys are really helping me doing that. So thank you so much. Likes on the video, great. Look, guys, make sure you're slapping a like on the video. You need to do that all the time because it basically ranks higher in the algorithm. It also gives me an understanding that you're enjoying the live streams, that this is a big thing. Normally, we do sort of like short ones, but I know you guys in the Rumour Mill period do enjoy the long talking, discussion, discourse, debate, all that lovely stuff. So make sure you're hitting all those good sort of like metrics there. Listen, we've got the Counterpoint with Joe Wainman tomorrow on the channel, 10 a.m. We've Across the Pond as well, recording tomorrow for the Patreon. And then we have Generation Leeds on the Patreon as well, recording on Tuesday. So listen, there's loads coming out. We're back on it, people. We're back on it after a little bit of a break. But I'm going to get into a few of your comments before we start up. Let's have a look at what you're saying. Morning, Connor. Hiya, pal. Morning, Matt. Weekend being, and also don't forget to leave a like on the video. You know what it is, buddy. You know what it is. Morning. Dan, looks like you brought the weather home with you. I did, pal. I did. It's actually nice and sunny now. Morning, mate. Hope you're good. Really want to start seeing our team make some moves and start the rebuild. We can't leave it late like last time. Morning, Connor. Any news? We'll get into it, buddy. We'll get into it. Finally catch you live from down under, mate. Hiya, TB. Hope you're good. And everybody in the chat, big up all you guys. Ina's here as well. Ricky, the members are in the building. You can become a member as well. Everybody, your comment will get read out first as well. We're going to try and get the debrief back as well this week on another topic as well. Everybody, we're back into it, as I've just mentioned several times. Listen, at some point, I want to get into a rant about England as well. Not on a separate video, but on the Rumour Mill. I kind of want to intertwine those absolutely rubbish, you know what's, and we can discuss that good stuff as well in terms of Southgate and all that sort of leaning. It seems a long time ago, doesn't it, that we were talking about Calvin Phillips being part of that England setup, but boy, Southgate brings it back, doesn't he? Of course, he brings it back into contention. Anyway, let's get on to a little bit of news that you guys are all here for as well. Archie Gray. Okay, so the Sun have published this morning. The Sun have published this morning that apparently there is they believe that there is a £20 million tag on Archie Gray, and Leeds United will be willing to do business for Archie Gray for £20 million. But no, let's be real about this, guys. Let's be real. What do we know about Archie Gray? We know that we need to have a significant sale. The Athletic reported this very recently. Let's not be a little bit deluded when it comes to that. Let's not be ridiculous as well when it comes to where we are as a football club right now. Leeds need to be in the picture where we are actually selling a top asset this summer. For a lot of money. Well, when I say a lot of money, I mean, you know, relative. It has to be a decent level of which Leeds are then going to be able to rank when it comes to PSR, but it then has to be a decent level as well. There I am. When it comes to you know, when it comes to Leeds United actually being able to do this in an effective way, so that we're then able to go out and get some signings. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below, everybody. Jokes, the Sun is garbage. Matt, he tried to hold Fortune over a barrel. Yeah, I think there's some chat going on here. The Sun, who believes anything they say. Rolling Wolf says, morning, I love the discussions. Keep it up. But yeah, listen, it is a mad rumour. That is a mad rumour. 20 million quid. I think that would probably be the worst negotiation in Leeds United's history if they were to do that. And we have had some bad ones, but Archie Gray, letting him go for that amount of money would be absolutely insane. It would be insanity. But the Sun are reporting that apparently there is a £20 million, or Leeds will be willing to deal with a £20 million valuation for the Leeds United player. Now, as we've mentioned before, the Athletic are reporting that Leeds need a significant sale this summer. Where it's going to be interesting and where it's going to be tested with Leeds is if we aren't getting a proper sale that's going to meet the valuation that we expect from certain individuals. That's where it's going to be interesting. That's where it's going to be fascinating when it comes to the financial restrictions and us meeting the sustainability laws and all this sort of stuff and being within a certain bracket. That's where I'm going to look at it and think, like, if this is getting a little bit beyond the point of which you're thinking, right, well, okay, we're not selling Nonto, we're not selling Summerville, we're not selling some of our prized assets, Melier in there as well, probably for a decent amount, then you think to yourself, okay, that is interesting. And how are we going to be able to delve into the market and actually sell some of our players, because it's going to have to happen. This is what we know. The Athletic have reported it, that we need a significant sale, and it's definitely something that we need to look at in terms of that. Ricky says, Gilchrist and Con's fave Trihume are most likely of the batch this summer. Yeah, that'll be interesting, especially Trihume. Can't see Archie growing anywhere but Leeds for now. I kind of agree with you, Eddie, but I think that the big thing we've got to do now, mate, is realistically look at the Leeds sell picture, because if we don't get a significant sale, as the Athletic have reported, Leeds need that. It's definitely one to look at 100%. Okay, so Football Insider are reporting. Sometimes they get some things right about sort of 30-35% of the time, but we do have to take this with a pinch of salt, of course, everybody. But Leeds United have failed, according to Football Insider, with being able to bring Joe Rodon back. Now, is this just sensationalism? 100%. Look, we know that it's going to get clicks if you tackle something right now, and it's Joe Rodon, and the likelihood of him coming to Leeds United, and the likelihood of him leaving, Tottenham Hotspur to go to another club. But we know right now where we're at with Joe Rodon. We're all very, very aware as intelligent, articulate Leeds United fans that it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. Now, the Sun have also reported that there is going to be a 10 to 12 million pound figure. Now, this was reported, I believe, from research this morning, around about a week ago. Now, Leeds failing with it, I feel, is a really obvious link. It's an obvious link. Joe Rodon has played 50 matches for the club this season. We all know the rhetoric here. We all know what we're going to be speaking about. We've mentioned this several times before. He's had an excellent season, left-footed, right-footed. We've mentioned previously that Stevie Cooper at Leicester now has been with Joe Rodon, as we know. He's a huge fan of him, was there when he was a youngster at Swansea, massive fan of him, and there was a potential that Leicester need to bolster the ranks. I think there's more option for Joe to be playing at an Ipswich within the ranks, maybe even more likelihood that he'd play at Southampton, maybe in a replacement for someone like Jack Stevens. I don't quite know, or rotation, but I think minutes per match, he'd be playing a hell of a lot more at Ipswich, and he wants guaranteed minutes. Now, he'd be playing every single game for Leeds United, but at the age of 26, 27, does he want to be playing for Leeds United in the Championship for another year, which will obviously take him to 27, I believe it is, next season? This is something that we have to take into consideration. Is he going to want to do that? Is he realistically going to want to do that? That'd be 2 years at Leeds in the Championship. I believe the hopes were also, pinned on, obviously, us going up last season. So something definitely to look at there when it comes to Joe, but I think it's going to be quite difficult. Andrew says, Football Insider, do we believe anything on that comic site? Look, mate, you listen. As I say, pal, it is the rumor mill, my friend. It is the rumor mill. But yeah, 100%. It's a very is it a viable link? Sometimes it's been okay. Sometimes they've actually pulled things out of the hat pretty quickly. To be honest with you, I've done the rumor mill now on this channel for probably 5 years, every single transfer window. And sometimes they've pulled it out the hat and got it right. But as I say, I'd give them about 30% credibility. But the Joe Rodon links, I think they'll probably hit it with the Joe Rodon links, because I think it's pretty obvious. Are Leeds realistically going to spend 10 to 12 million quid this summer on a centre-back, especially with the outgoings that we need, which the formal offers are probably going to come a little bit later on. But are they the offers that we're going to be expecting? I don't know. Guys, special like at the sub. I became a member. If you can, want best Leeds channel going. Top man, Ricky, love your support, my friend, and everybody. Just smash a like on the video as well. Really, really helps. So yeah, 12 million quid for Mr. Rodon. I think that is probably what Mr. Levy is expecting as well, especially with the new contract that will take him to 2025. So we spoke about Brighton being in negotiations with Leeds United, or inquiring at least with Leeds United about Crescencio Summerville. We've spoken about Chelsea. We've spoken about Liverpool. Now, we mentioned Chelsea yesterday, and on the stream, on the video I put out the other night, Williams, who is at Bilbao, who has been playing for Spain in the Euros and who looks like an absolute superstar, has been rumoured with Chelsea. Now, why is this significant, Connor? Well, this is significant because obviously they are looking at wingers this season. They are looking at wingers in this transfer window. Chelsea fans are wanting wingers. They seem to always want wingers every single season, and it seems to be that Chelsea on the books have about 5 million wingers per season. But the interesting thing about Nico Williams at Bilbao, obviously their best player is from the Basque region. He's unbelievable. He can go both ways. He can play on the right, he can play on the left if you ask him. It looks like Chelsea are now looking at him, but the alternative to Williams is Crysencio Summerville. This is obviously significant. There's varying rumours around Crysencio Summerville at this moment in time when it comes to Liverpool. Apparently, they've backed out because the fee is too hot. But we also look at this lad, yeah. And the fact that he was at Feyenoord, he's a massive fan of him. And that link is always going to be there with Sommerville, Arne Slot, and Liverpool for the obvious, with the Dutchman now being there. It looks like that's going to be a little bit difficult. Will they move for him? Will they spend 35, 40 million on Crysencio Summerville, someone who's not really proven in the Premier League, someone who's not really done it in the Premier League, and that is a lot of money. You don't really see Liverpool spending that sort of money. I don't think you're going to see that. So I think Chelsea might come in with a late bid, but he might have already gone by then. Obviously, they've already agreed a fee with another club. If he is a priority at Brighton, then he's going to want to go there. But once again, a lot of competition at Brighton when it comes to them just investing in this sort of moneyball approach that they've always had and just getting these random players from Ecuador, Bolivia, everywhere, and being able to really invest smartly and getting the best value for players recently. One of my favourites at the moment for Brighton is Estepinian. What they've been able to do, bring him over, how good he's been, has been nothing short of impeccable. Evan Ferguson, Matoma, they're just able to get players for unbelievable value and develop them. And I think Brighton are just an excellent club at doing that. But there's a new club in the race right now, and that is Fulham. Reports are suggesting this morning, Fulhamish, from the Fulhamish site, that they have joined the race for Crysencio Summerville. Fulham seems would be a good option, I think, for Chris Summerville. They've got a decent packet behind them. Obviously, we know they are ran by Khan, who is just this multi-millionaire who's obviously involved in F1 as well. I think his son as well is the chairman and the owner of AEW wrestling, for all you wrestling fans out there. But yeah, Khan has been involved in F1. He owns a couple of clubs as well, not only Fulham, and he's just a multi-millionaire. I believe he's involved in the NFL as well. I'm sure he is. But yeah, they've joined the race for Chris Summerville. I don't think money's ever a problem for Fulham. They've just done the redevelopment of the stadium as well, which was absolutely fantastic on the Thames. And yeah, they could be another real viable option for Summerville. It's one of those sort of mid-table clubs who are looking to develop. Wingers in the Premier League are now just an unbelievable commodity. And he sort of would fit. And he would, if anything, he'd be sort of a, you sometimes see Willian cutting in off that left. Obviously, we know he plays on the right as well, but when he's been cutting in off that left, Chris Summerville almost has that low centre of gravity that would replace Willian in a bit of a younger version. I think that would be a nice little sort of younger sort of prodigy when it comes to him. And Fulham makes a lot of sense as well. You look at their affordability, they don't spend so much per year. It's not just like year after year after year, but if they're able to keep all the Polinia, if they're able to bring someone like Summerville in, that makes a lot more sense to me than, like a Liverpool or a Chelsea and maybe even a Brighton. But Fulham being there, it feels like Summerville will be able to nail down a place pretty easily. Eddie says, I like Nikola Zalewski, Poland midfielder, plays for Rome. I think he scored the other day, didn't he? Palace, I fancy with Elise going to Germany. Might be a spot for Cree, says Adrian. Yeah, that's obviously with the link that Elise looks like he's going to Bayern Munich. Could there be something there for Cree Summerville? That'll be interesting. Oipa says the exact same thing. Elise going to Bayern, May Palace coming for Summerville. I think the interesting thing is when it comes to Elise and Palace, really, you look at what they've invested in when it comes to the Championship. Elise obviously was at Reading, Eze, QPR, Adam Wharton at Blackburn. They are not afraid to go and dip into the Championship and get the cream of the crop, which is essentially what we should have done when we went up with Mr. Marcelo Bielsa. And our board decided to go for Koch, Llorente, Rodrigo, when at that moment in time, it should have been Watkins, it should have been others in that division who were the cream of the crop, cream of the crop. We should have gone and got them. Buendia, another one at that moment who was in the Championship. Leeds didn't do that after Angus Kinnear said that we would do that in an interview. And unfortunately, that's where we fell on our face. I think, if you're able to get the cream of the crop from the Championship, a lot of the time, the talent is just so fantastic that it can really, really transcend into the Premier League quite nicely as well. And a lot of these players have been dropped from Premier League clubs anyway, so they know the standard, they know the expectation, and they're able to transition back up to that level, easier than maybe a foreign player. So yeah, listen, I think it's a really good move to be for Palace if Elise is to go, and maybe keep an eye on that one. Some good information from you guys there. I like Nico Williams. I hope that he doesn't go to a club like Chelsea. Yeah, Nico's. Wow. What I mean, obviously, just being out in Bilbao, they adore him. They absolutely adore him. And as I said, from that region as well, it's going to take a lot to tear him away. He is the star boy, and he was doing this at 18, 19. Some of the goals he was scoring at 18, 19. He's a superstar, an absolute superstar. So yeah, you do with a lot of all these superstars who, Madueke, Mudryk, all of these players who were dubbed as the next big thing going to Chelsea, and now that a lot of them being flops, you do think, is there a little bit of a pathway there that's going to inhibit these players? Ricky says, from what I understood of this window, there was so far been one concrete offer for Cree. That was 20 million euros from Leverkusen. And rejected. Yeah, fair enough, mate. I've not heard that one myself. Connor says, I'm worried with Farke next year. He's literally the English Southgate. Yeah, Connor, it's at points, mate. But when you do watch England, some of it is managing a game. You do look at it and think it's not the exact same, but you do look at it and think, oh, it's like watching Leeds. You just can't get away from it, can you? But yeah, so interesting there, and something that I wanted to bring up as well, everybody. Something that might give us a little bit of expectation when it does come to Crease Summerville. Sesko. Now, Sesko is an unbelievable striker, of which has had interest from Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea, the dark side of Manchester as well, and many clubs around the world. And he looks absolutely unbelievable. What a player he is. He's come in with a platinum trim, which I always think is good when you're coming into the Euros. We went with Phil Foden years ago, didn't we? Gaza years before that. And he's come in with a platinum dyed hair. And what a player. I mean, his touch is remarkable, his decision making, his football brain, and I love this within a player. If you've actually got a football brain, you always make the right decisions. The decision making in football is such a massive commodity. It's a massive commodity which you look at and you think that is worth so much money, because a player who can make the right decisions is a player who's going to be successful 100%. And he just looks so good for Slovenia. I think it is Slovenia, isn't it? It's one of it's either Slovenia or Slovakia. I can't quite remember. But obviously he's with RB Leipzig now, and the beautiful thing is a lot of journalists were saying he was gone. He was gone this season. 60 million, 65 million was going to see him go into one of the Prem clubs, like we always see every single summer. You get a Prem club coming in, and it's like, okay, well, they're at these feeder clubs almost, and they let them go. The beautiful thing, and this is the Red Bull sphere, and where Red Bull could help Leeds United, and this is, we've seen the hike when it comes to Crease Summerville, and we know they're playing at the top level, which makes a little bit of a difference. But Sesko has recently signed a new contract, which essentially, unless you are willing to spend a lot, and we're not just talking about 60 million quid here, we're talking a hell of a lot of money to buy him out of that contract, of which he's signed for about 1 or 2 months right now. You're not getting him. You are not getting him. The likelihood is no one will do that anyway. The literally 98% likelihood is no one will do that anyway. So Sesko stays at Leipzig. He stays within the Red Bull network. Now, money always talks, and if Red Bull are able to hike that transfer value up for Leeds United, it's going to be amazing, of course. But is there a possibility that they could convince Crease Summerville to stay? Now, obviously, we know Leipzig are at a very different level. A very different level to someone like Mark as well. Like, Mark, are you all right, fella? So I've just seen him in the comments there, and yeah, see you in a bit, Mark. You drip. Not about that, everybody. About positivity in the chat. Do you know what I mean? Don't know what this guy's on about. He was commenting before the video. Was commenting on all my other videos as well. Very bizarre. But there we go. But yeah, Sesko contract, one to look at. Could that happen? Could that transition as well? Someone like Crysensia Summerville in the Championship. The likelihood is no, because of the money side of things. We all know that. It's likely that doesn't happen. But we all know it could hike the fee up. We know it could hike the fee up, and we know the negotiation on the table is going to be a little bit more rigorous. It's going to be a little bit more ruthless. So one to keep an eye on there. Oliver Skipp, the update as we know of right now, everybody, is that He would like to leave Tottenham Hotspur. He wants first team minutes. That is exactly what he wants this season. I believe he's played about 5 games for Tottenham this season. The big issue that Leeds United are going to have when they want Oliver Skipp on loan, or if they want to get him on a permanent transfer, it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost a hell of a lot of money because he's a homegrown player. I mean, when I say a hell of a lot of money, I mean from Leeds United standards. But the positive we can look at here is someone like Ethan Ampadu. You know, someone like Ethan Ampadu, who wasn't playing for Chelsea, who was going out on loan, as Skipp has done with Norwich, and there's a connection there already. There wasn't a connection with Ethan Ampadu and, you know, Leeds United there. And you know, a boss or whatever. Skipp has that with Daniel Farke. Now, if he wants first team minutes, if he's willing to drop down to the Championship to a massive club, Leeds are the club there. And could Red Bull play another hand here in negotiations when it comes to him? The players are going to be very attracted by that. The agents are going to think to themselves, "Oh, we're going to get a big fee here when it comes to commish, bonuses, all that sort of stuff, and Premier League guarantees, which players and agents absolutely love." And that's a lot of which, I can say this for a fact, is when you get some of the big players coming down to the Championship, a lot of it is just based on Premier League bonuses. If we get to the Premier League, you're going to get X, Y, and Z. That's why loads of them come down. And the funny thing, and I found this out recently from someone who was in the game, is the agents get massive portions as well when it comes to in their contracts, in their fee, I should say, from the contracts. They will get A, B, C, D, E, F, G from that player's contract if they get into the Premier League as well, which I had no idea on, which is crazy. So guaranteed minutes, that's what he wants. The problem is with Leeds United right now, if they want to go in for Oliver Skipp, it's the homegrown problem. Tottenham Hotspur need homegrown players within the Premier League, obviously, and Skipp is one of those. Adam Lozek, obviously has played for Leverkusen this season. He's part of the Leverkusen team who has won the double in Germany. Obviously, they went that unbelievable run as well, where they were unbeaten. Unfortunately, it was in the final against, I think it was the Europa League, wasn't it, against Atalanta, when Ademola Lookman scored a hat-trick. That stopped their invincible run, which would have been all season in all competitions, which would have been absolutely staggering. And the Sunday Mirror are reporting today that Leeds United are in for the Czech Republic International for 12 million quid, but it is between us and West Ham. So 12 million quid, as we've spoken about the whole video, everybody, Leeds need capital. So I still think 10 to 12 million quid is going to be a lot of money for the Whites this window. And where do you prefer? We know Lozek plays a little bit further forward. Is that what Leeds are going to be interested in, on almost 8-10, but you can play out wide as well? Fascinating to hear. Spot on con, Glenn Johnson's agent wanted 4 mil of the 8 million that Palace offered as a signing on fee. It's very interesting that you mentioned that, because we were actually, I was having this conversation with someone who is well aware of the Ben Johnson deal. Let's have a look at a couple more of what you guys are saying. Did you get to speak to a Bilbao fan, Paul? We spoke to a few, man. We spoke to a few, and it was shout out to Javier, who now watches the content. I saw one of his comments on the video. Javier is an Argentinian, and he works in a bar in the old town of Bilbao, and they do fantastic pizzas. And Javier said to me, I was sat down with, unfortunately, my friend who is cursed with supporting the red side of Manchester. And do you know what, everybody? I beat my friend 4-1. 4-1. And the reason I beat him 4-1 is because I saw 2 Leeds United fans out there. And one Leeds United fan came up to me who watches the channel, and Javier was talking to me about what I'm going to talk to you about in a second. And we only saw one Manchester United fan over there. So the Leeds to Man U ratio was 4-1. Smacked him off the park, everybody. So if you want just no Man United fans and, you know, a couple of Leeds fans dotted about, go to Bilbao. It's a good place. There's a couple of Cockneys out there as well, which might take it to 5 or 6-1 actually, who were Leeds fans. It was great. Their dads were from Wakefield. They lived down in London. It was fantastic. My mate couldn't stand it, and that's what I love. But Javier, back on to Javier. He was an Argentinian, living in, I think he was from Rosario as well, living in Bilbao. And he said, where are you guys from? And I said, I'm from Leeds. And he said, where are you from? And he went, Manchester, my mate did. And he went, oh. And I went, oh. I went, Javier. And he went, no, stop. He went, Marcelo Bielsa. And I went, oh, Javier. I went, Javier, let's have a conversation. Javier sat down. We had a chat. And my mate hated every minute of it. We spoke about Bilbao beating Man United. And it was great with Bielsa. And my mate remembers that as well because he was there on that evening. And yeah, it was just a fantastic conversation. So I did speak to Bilbao fans out there. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is, Paul, as well? I don't really want to be getting, if Javier's speaking to me and he feels comfortable, I don't want to just get my phone out and start filming him. I find it's not authentic. Do you know what I mean? It's not authentic. I did it down at Wembley and I enjoyed doing it, but I just love having a chat with people about football. I find it difficult just getting a camera out and filming them, even though I know you guys would probably love it. But we met a fair few Leeds fans over there. I just didn't want to sit down there with the camera and be like, talk to me about Bielsa. I just thought, listen, I'll articulate the story back to you guys when I get back. Luke says, Lewis Bate has gone Stockport. There we go. Shout out to you, Luke. Thank you. Oiper says, all gone quiet on O'Hare. Would love to get him. Once again, I wouldn't take that as gospel, mate. I think the O'Hare bidding is probably going to happen once again after the Euros. I think you're going to get a lot more focus on a lot of these players after. There's no business going on, really. There's lower league stuff going on, but there's no real championship business or Premier League business going on. So wait until after the Euros. O'Hare is going to be once again a sort of rich commodity in this window, so it might be a little bit difficult for Leeds, but we'll have to wait and see. If we are a big club, then we can go out and get that one done. Eddie says, went to a bar in Corfu, Illusions Bar last week. Loads of football, no Leads. Had to leave. One on the wall. Still early doors on the transfer front, says Andrew. You're right, mate. You bang on. Jay says, just have a feeling not much transfer business will get done before the Euros. If Summerville and Nonto leave, I assume Dan James starts. Says, hear you. Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty obvious. Hear you. I think we're not going to do mass. You got to think Aronson's back in the picture now as well, which is good, bad, but potentially having Aronson, Perot, and Dan James in there. If the others do leave, I don't think there's a lot of composure there. I'm not sure there's match winners in there either. I'd like to see a proper technical footballer in there that's going to really, really aid Leeds United in that. I think that's needed, and we don't want to go into this season underestimating it. I think maybe there's a couple of fans who are saying, oh, well, every other player's adapt. Dan James adapted, Firpo's adapted, so Aronson's going to adapt. If Verba comes back, he will adapt. If Christensen comes back, he will adapt. The Championship's a lot tougher than we think, and I think, certain players adapt, certain players don't. So, right, guys, we're going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed this version of the Room Mill. We'll be back a little bit later on with a little quick video. As always, I will keep you up to date with absolutely everything. We'll be back here tomorrow morning with Counterpoint with myself and Joe Wainman. It's been an absolute pleasure. And listen, thank you so much for your support, everybody. Really, really appreciate it. Listen, and as I've said, if you want some bonus content, head on over to the Patreon, and I will see you very soon, everyone. Cheers.